Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Carissa Explains It All. I'm Carissa, and in today's episode, we are talking about my childhood. Yes, that one thing that you were dying to hear about because it's what everyone wants to hear when they ask the question, so tell me about yourself. Well, I won't bore you with the minutiae of the day I was born, but I think we can pick out some of the juicier bits, the bits that really kind of tell you more about like who I am and like what happened in my formative years, because that's what really gives us the context for the rest of the story, the burnout, the working my ass off until I was just so depressed and disconnected from life, and then my spiritual journey after that. So let's give you guys a little bit of context. I was born in the 80s, barely, and that would make me like a middle millennial. I'm not an elder millennial and I'm not a younger millennial. I am like smack dab in the middle. To give you a little bit of cultural context, I was in elementary school and junior high when Britney Spears and NSYNC were super popular. 9/11 happened when I was in 7th grade, maybe 8th grade, I can't remember now. And I definitely didn't understand any of the social or political implications that had. Everything changed after that. Not really for me because I was still a kid. My parents were pretty restrictive and protective about what my sisters and I were allowed to watch. So like we grew up watching Arthur and Wishbone, Mr. Rogers, Sesame Street, all that stuff. We weren't allowed to listen to Britney Spears or NSYNC or anything like that. And I think it was just their way of like making sure that we were protected. They were not very protected growing up, and so they kind of went the far extreme other way to make sure that we, had more opportunities in life than they were given. I ran cross country and didn't care for it too much, but I guess it was just kind of like what I did. My parents said we had to do a sport, and that's what my dad did, so I did it. Looking back now, I probably would have selected dance or something like that if I had realized that I could choose something that I wanted to choose. I don't know. It's just crazy like how much I just kind of went with whatever I was told to do at the time, which is no surprise why I then burnt out later in my career because I hadn't really selected the career. I just kind of went along with the flow of what was going on, right? I was an introvert, I was pretty shy, but I was pretty outgoing with my friends, like my close friends, and I found like my core group of friends in junior year and senior year of high school. They're amazing. They're still amazing people. I forget if I said I grew up like in the suburbs of California, so to give contextual setting. Yeah, so fast forward, graduate high school, went off to state college. I don't know how I pulled the grades for that because I don't really remember studying. I declared my degree as global studies. That was an extremely rational choice. It was basically between global studies, film studies, and psychology. It is really ironic and funny to me that I chose global studies because it would keep my interest. This is not the ironic part. I'll get to that in a minute. I chose global studies because I got to study everything. I felt like I cheated the system. I didn't have to just study one thing. So I could study sociology and history, art history, politics, economics, environmental science, and I could study it from all over the world. So I felt like with that array of interests, it would keep me interested enough to go into different classes. I didn't want to niche down. Like, who wants to do that? I want to learn about everything. What's ironic to me is that I was choosing between global studies, psychology, and film, and little did I know that later in life I would be technically kind of just going through my own major of psychology in that I dove into inner child work, the internal family systems, understanding my own psyche and really studying like Jungian archetypes and stuff. And then film, I mean, I'm here on YouTube making films. I've always loved film. It's always been my medium of choice for artistic expression. I think it's because I just like sharing perspective. I like seeing perspective. I like sharing perspective. So to me, filming and being on camera is like the closest I can get to showing life through a single perspective. My perspective, but I enjoy other people's perspectives too. While I was going to school, I also worked in customer service, retail. I've literally started to bore myself already with that. Oh my God. I met my first boyfriend. He was amazing. And after hanging out with him 24/7 for like several months and completely just utterly choosing to not go to class, I completely failed that semester. And my parents were like, honey, we love you, but we are not paying for you to not be a college student. We are not paying. Yeah, we choose not to pay for you to be in college when you're not going to be a college student. So they cut me off financially, and I have mixed feelings about the tough love because on one hand, it served me. It helped me realize like I can provide for myself because I ended up working then full time at minimum wage while doing a full course load at school. So it was exhausting. I worked really hard. It gave me a sense of empowerment, but it was not very loving or supportive, and it definitely caused issues further down the road as far as like a sense of instability and just feeling like it was never enough. Like I could never have enough money where I would feel stable, because I had to deal with the emotional cutoff of financial resources. So after finishing college, and I did it in 5 years, so I was a super senior. I was still working in customer service. It's kind of like a unique blend of customer service and medical. I'm still not going to say what it is because I still work in this industry. And eventually, I'm sure I'll feel comfortable enough to say what it is. But I feel like it's too easy to figure out where I work and what company. And I have a lot of stories to tell. So I'm not going to say what it is at this time. But essentially, I worked my way into becoming a manager of a store. And that place was about to go out of business because, like, we stopped being able to pay vendors. We couldn't get toilet paper for our bathroom. Like there was telltale signs that something was about to go down. And just before that happened, I got a phone call from this lady who was like, hey, we're opening up a new store. This was a different company. And she was like, hey, we're opening up a new store. Would you be interested in interviewing? And I was like seeing the signs of like, okay, we have no merchandise to sell. I was like, yes, I would actually, I would love to interview. And also my coworkers would love to interview as well. And she was like, okay, great. So we ended up meeting up. The interview went extremely well. They wanted to hire all three of us. And lo and behold, a month later, that business went out of business. But it was fine because this new store that was opening up was going to open up a month later. So we basically like skated by this like potentially really bad thing where we were all out of jobs, and it's truly like a blessing. Like looking back, I'm like, holy crap, that was like divine intervention, because it really set the stage for like events that were going to happen in life. So it's, 2020, looking back, we can all see like, wow, I can see how it's all connected, but back then you're just like hopping from stone to stone across the river, trying to make it across the river, right? We started at the new job, and it was really kind of fun because we kind of got to control the business. It was like, I always told people, it was like being an entrepreneur, but being funded by a large corporation. So I didn't have to worry about paychecks or like paying the bills or anything, but I got to be innovative and creative and literally grow the business in any way that I wanted to. I had to pay for it myself, but like I could do any kind of advertising. I could do, I could plan events and do celebrations and things like bring in sales, and we did, and we actually accomplished like a lot. We had like the highest customer service satisfaction score out of 400 stores at the time in our whole company, and we broke a record for the first year of being in business. Like the company's record was like, I don't know, I think it was like 350,000 for the year, and we did 500,000 in our first year. Like truly incredible results as far as like building a business, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed being an entrepreneur and building something and putting my passion into it, and I did fundraising. I was the captain for fundraising for a nonprofit organization, and I filmed videos. I visited every store that we had in Northern California, so like I was friends with all the store managers and participated and like connected with them, and it was really fun. I'm not gonna lie, like it was really fun. I talk about the burnout that I had from corporate culture, but that came later. And at that time in my life, I think I was 23. I really, really enjoyed. Was it 23? No, I was 24 and 25. Excuse me. I really enjoyed what I was doing, and I enjoyed the process of being able to contribute and create and build something that was successful, and the recognition that I got from it was great. I got voted by my peers to go to this thing called like a summit, and it's where all the leaders of the company and all the the managers of the highest performing stores, and then within each region one person gets voted to also go, and I was that person that got voted to go. And we all met up in San Diego that year, and there was a big awards ceremony, and I was not expecting to get an award, and I got one. It was I went kind of ballistic. If I can find the video, I will post it here because I was so silly. I was so excited. I wasn't expecting to get an award. It was just a fun event, and I just felt so celebrated. And I felt so excited, and basically writing all of that success. There came a point, I don't know, a few months after that, where I got a phone call from my bosses, and these were two women who were just wonderful mentors for me. And they said, hey, we're switching regions. And I was like, what does that mean? And they're like, you're gonna have a new boss. And I was like, oh hell no. You cannot tell me that I just put in all this hard work for the last couple years and built relationships with all of these store managers and with my bosses just to tell me that I'm gonna get like redistributed to a different region, and now I'm gonna have different bosses, have to start over with those relationships, not going to be able to be in the same peer group as the store managers I had built relationships with. Are you kidding me? And so I actually cried on the phone with them. I was just like, it was all for nothing. I can't start over from scratch. I can't do this. So I was like, well, I'll move. I'll change stores. I'll stay in your region. I'll just move me to a different store. And so they were like, okay, well, we'll think about it. We'll see what's available, because we had new locations opening up and there was all kinds of things. I wanted to say long story short, but this has gone on for a while now. Essentially, there was this store in the San Francisco Bay Area that was extremely high volume. I think the previous record had been it took 10 years for the first store to hit $1 million, and this store did it in 4. They hit the $1 million in 4 years. So the volume was insane at this store. It was a larger staff, and it was going to be like more responsibility, but also like I have a supportive staff, because the current location that I had been in, that I'd won the awards and gotten the success from, it was really kind of bare bones staff. It was me and one other full-time person, and then like a part-time or casual part-time. So I was really like always there, and I really kind of wanted to take more of a back burner. Like I want to step back and like run the business and like do the advertising, not have to be in the day to day, not having to sell to customers all day long, because I didn't give a shit about that. I basically took an educational approach and let the person choose if they want to buy or not. Like I'm not a salesperson. I don't care to change someone's mind about something. Like that is not my business. Like that is so not in alignment for me. So I was really excited about this new opportunity to move to this other store, and just to move to a different area and to move up in the company and to take on more responsibility and to just experience something new and different, And little did I know how much this was like a setup that would lead me to burnout, but also to the biggest self-revelations and set me on a very, very different path. So this is one of those choice points. Do you ever have those in your life where you have like, there's a choice point where your life could have gone very, very differently had you chosen something else? And this is one of those. This was one of those for sure. Had I chosen to stay at the store that I was in, which was kind of a smaller town, not as many opportunities, or move to the big city and just challenge myself in every possible way. I feel like choosing what college I went to was one of those big choice points, not because of the college itself or even the education, but because the area that I moved to meant that I had all these experiences that came after it, career-wise. I also met my first boyfriend there, which I forgot to say and really should have been a bigger telling point in this contextual part of my story. But he and I got married in 2015. So I married my first and only boyfriend after 5 years of being together, and that was in 2015. So I really should have said that sooner. And that was right about when I started that first store. Yeah, and we've been happily ever after since. No, it has not been always happy. It's been, I mean, relatively happy, but like, you know, we've had a lot of shit to work through too, because we were both young and emotionally immature and just had no idea what we were doing. So, but you work through that together, you know, you work through it as partners, life partners, and you move through stuff together and you grow stronger individually and relationshiply wise because of it. So, but anyways, yeah, so my life was about to change forever. And I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to leave it here to the next chapter. So I hope you check out the next video where we'll talk about that big change and moving to the big city. And this is really, this next video, this one was all about the context. Like, here's my life. Here's how I grew up. Like, and then the next video is going to be the setup to the burnout. And then the burnout, of course, just completely, my life just changes after that. So, I'm excited to tell you guys that part of the story. If you've enjoyed so far, definitely make sure that you're subscribed so you can get the next chapter when it comes out. And I don't know what else to say, so just I hope you liked it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.